Welcome back guys to the SSRS training sessions, and it's really a very good gap between the last session and this session, right? So you might have practiced a lot, hoping so. And I got one query from one of the student, Kanti, and the query is she was not able to create cascading parameters. Let's see how to do the same. And for doing the same, first of all, we have to analyze the database properly, as I said already, and I'll be saying the same throughout the sessions. Even we are in SSIS or what is that, AS, I'll tell the same. You have to analyze the database and you have to think what is available in your hand and how to make use of the things that are, make use of the tables that are available to design a particular item. Now, let me connect to the database and let me show you the query what she is using for creating the parameters. AdventureWorks TW, and this is the query. Okay, if you want to go with the cascading parameters using this table, this is the first one she wants to go with. And see here, this key is linked to sales territory region. These two are unique. Okay, this guy's parent is sales territory group. This guy's child is sales territory country, right? So if you have this table and if they ask you to create a cascading parameters or create a report which helps the user in filtering the data using the parameter option. So how you have to go with, if you take this key and this country or this group, it won't give you proper result. Why? Because this key column is not meant for this group. This key column is meant for sales territory region. So you can take these two as one combination. And what is its parent? This guy's parent. That means this is one to one or one to many relationship with sales territory group. That means Europe here in the sales territory group will have many sales territory regions. Like we have France, Germany and United Kingdom. And sales territory region child one is sales territory country. That means one northwest in sales territory region is having more than one records in the child table. Okay, if you see, this is how it flows. Southeast is one region, Canada is one region, Australia is one region, and in that region a country will be there, right? Okay, it is not this is the first parent. Okay, um, in this you will have children like this, sales territory country, and in countries you have region. This is how it is flowing. Let me erase the drawings here and let me draw the same again. So this is the first level. In that we have countries. Europe has two countries, France and Germany, and France has one sales territory region and Germany has one sales territory region. In the same way United Kingdom has one, North America has one, and United States have many regions like northwest, northeast, central, southwest, southeast, and so on. So the flow of parameters, cascading parameters, should be like this. First it should be like this one, and then on selecting of any group it should filter and show the countries, and on if you select any one country, let's say United States, it should filter and give you the regions. If you select the region, then it should take these key columns and send these keys to the fact table or whatever the table from where you are pulling the data. Now let's start creating parameters. How you will go first, as you know, it is one to many, right? This guy is one to many here, and here one guy is having many records here. The first thing you have to do here is create a parameter for which column. What would be the first one I have to create here? What is the topmost among these columns? The first one should be sales territory group. So let me write the query. select distinct sales territory group from this table. So if you see, if I write distinct, I'll get only sales territory groups. Why I have not taken any key column here? The reason is there is no key mapping to this one. Sales territory group. The master table is designed in such a way. Let's say you have a city, state, country. Okay, in a table. In one table you have city, state, country. So the key column will be mapped to city always. That is the least level, right? If you take an Excel, let's assume you have a city, state and country. You are maintaining in one single master table. Then you will have ID, city, state, country. First ID, city is Hyderabad, state is AP, country is India. Second, Bangalore, Karnataka, India. Here, do you have any unique column for unique key for India? Unless and until you split this India, you move this country India to a different table like country ID and name and make it as one India, then only you will have a key column here, right? So this is how you will split the tables. If you don't split the tables country wise, state wise and city wise, then you will have only the key column for the least level. The least level is city here. Okay, if you see, this is city level, the table is city level, and that is why the ID column is is for city. Here the least level is sales territory region, that is why the ID column is for sales territory region. But this will not, the group will not have any unique identifier. So what I'm doing here is I'm taking only sales territory group and taking the distinct values which will filter and get me the distinct values here. So I'm taking a new report, adding a new item. I'll name it as student doubt. So the first thing I have to create is the connection. Let me set the data source. I'll take it as test, embedded with it, or use the shared connection. Let me see whether I have shared or not. Yes, I do. So click on OK. Now I have to create my first data set that will be used for that will be used as source for the parameter sales territory group. If I click on OK, this is created, and if I go to parameter, create my first parameter, param group, and I'll make it as group. Okay, I'll take it as multiple value, and the available values will be coming from the data set, and both the key column and name column will be the same, that is group, because there is no separate key for available for this particular group column. So if you see now, the parameter is created with the default with the values Europe, North America, NA and Pacific. So the first step is created. If you see here, the first step is created. So now if I select any one, then what it has to load? It has to load the countries. So the query will be select distinct sales territory country where sales territory group in the values that I'm gonna pass, right? This is the normal way, the procedure, right? Cascading parameters. I'll name it as group. So I'm creating one more data set which will take input from the parameter group and pull me the sales territory countries that belongs to the group. So let me create the data set first. Add data set, and I'll name it as country _ds. I'll set the query and parameters should be mapped here. So the value for this group will be coming from parameter group, and this is created. Now let me add the parameter country. Param country, allow multiple values. The values will be coming from the data set uh, which is created by us, that is country data set. Both the key column and the name column again will be the same. Why? Because there is no key column available for this country. So now if I select Europe, it should list only those countries which belongs to the Europe groups. If you see France, Germany and United Kingdom are coming here. And if you go and see here, Europe has 3 and it is France, Germany and United Kingdom. And if you select North America, you have only US, but it has many times. So since I have used distinct for the country also, if I select North America, it should show country only once. It has 2 countries, one is Canada and another one is United States. You can see here Canada for North America and United States. So the 2 steps are completed. The third one is I want to get sales territory region. Sales territory region from so and so, where sales territory country in the countries whatever we are selecting. Here we have a key column to use, right? If you see, this is mapped with this key column, so you can also get the key column if you wish to have. Sales territory key, and let me copy this query. And if you see the query, I'm getting sales territory key and sales territory region from this table where the country is in the selection, whatever the selection that user is going to select using the parameter country here. So let me create a data set here. I'll name it as region underscore ds. The query is fine, and I'll map the country with the country here. Done. Now let me create a parameter for region. Let me set it as multi-value. Available value should be from the data set whatever we have created. The value field you can set. If you want to set, you can set it to key, or else you can leave it as label field unless and until you have this label field. See, when you will use this label field, if you have this label field in the next data set or the main data set where you are going to filter, then you can use the reason label field itself. If my fact table is using sales territory key, let me show you that one also. Select the top 10 star from fact internet sales. If this guy is the one which is going to pull the data for my main data set, which I'm going to use for in my report, if this is having sales territory key, here if you see it is having key, it is not having region, or it is not having country, it is not having group, it has only sales territory key. That is why I have to take sales territory key. Why? Because on selection of the sales territory region, that is the third parameter, I can use that key label, the value field, and to filter the main data set. I'll show you that also. So let me select North America. It should have 2 countries. One is United States and Canada. If I select United States, then it should list 4 to 5 regions: northwest, northeast, central, southwest and southeast, right? So this is how we will create. Now why I have taken key only for region? Why I have not taken key for the remaining? Why? Because my main data set, which I'm gonna use for reporting, main data set, this guy is having sales territory key, not the remaining stuff. So the query for the main data set will be something like this: select star from fact internet sales where sales territory key in at the rate of key. That means whatever the say regions I'm gonna select using the third parameter, this guy will be used, this data set will use the same and map the parameters, the region, the key value, and get the data. Let me show you an example. I'll take sales amount here. Oops, this has taken a text box. It should not be text box. I have to insert a table. And let me take sales amount, tax amount, and freight amount. So if I execute this, now the group is filtered based on the data set, the input values whatever we provided, and then the countries will be loaded, and if you select countries it will load the regions. If I select regions, these region keys will be sent to the data set, that is main data set. Select star from fact internet sales and the data will be filtered. And if you see, you are getting something around good amount of data. Let's say 495 pages. But in normal, in total, we were having something around 1000 something pages, right? Now it filtered only United States. Now let me take Canada alone. And here it has only one region, that is Canada. And if you view report, it will filter, it has to filter and get only Canada sales, and it is only 175 pages report. So if you see how it flows, first you have to find out that. If you go to this table, the top one is not this to this. It is not sales territory group to sales territory, and there is no link to the country. So here is directly have to show the sales territory group. Why? Because this is the top level. This has children called countries, so you have to load this one as second parameter. And once you select any country, it has to load regions. This is the third one, and this region ID we have, which is used in the fact internet sales. So I have taken the ID for the third parameter. If you see here, I have taken the ID for the third parameter, and that is why I have taken it in my data set as well. And I'm using this value field to filter my main data set. Now if you want to select the default values, go to the default option, set the data set. What is the first one? Parameter group, right? That is plain data set. The value field should be group. And for country, what is the default? It should be country data set and country name. So it will filter and it will show whatever the values that is returning after applying the filters, it will be showing the same. Let me go to the region data set. This is a value field. What you have assigned for value field, you have assigned key for the value field. So I've taken that. Now if you see, all the values will be selected by default, and the report will be executed, and it will pull all the records. Why? Because we are passing all the sales territory keys to the main data set, that is having the query select star from fact internet sales. And you can see 1402 number of page report. The output is it clear, guys? Yeah, cool. Let me answer the second question, that is what you asked the question, right? Why it is becoming under responsive when the data is used. Let's say you click on view report, and while it is loading, and if you do something else, then what it will do is it will become unresponsive state. Why? Because the server is busy in loading and printing the data of your first request. The first request is preview the report. So when the process is going on, then you are interrupting and you are doing something else, right? So that's why it will try to share the resources among these two requests. Then it will show you not a non-responsive state, and slowly it will recover and it will show you the report. If this guy is having 1400 something number of records, right? Let me insert one more column and add one more field, and while clicking on preview, and if you click on it again and again, and the report, this is a pretty simple report. If the report is pretty complex one, and you have to give good enough time. And let me tell you one thing, for fetching the data it won't take much time. Let me take an example here. Select star from fact internet says. What it will do is, if I execute this, it will fetch the data, and the next thing is it will print the data. Select is nothing but print. Okay, if you use select of A, what will happen? It will select A. That means it is selecting A from a table? No, it is just printing A. Select is equal to print. What it has to print? It has to get all the records from fact internet sales table and asking the server to print. If I execute this, for the select statement, that is getting the records, will not take much time, but printing the same will take much time. Okay, let me do one thing. This is one table, union all. I think this guy will get more records. I'm trying to get more records. Somewhere it's gone. Control C. So this will return many records, right? I'm unioning the same table again and again and again. So the select statement will not take much time, but the printing will be taking much time. If you see here, the printing part, it is continuously printing. So the printing will take more time. So while the printing is in progress, if you try to execute something else, then obviously it will go on, and the application will hang. So you have to give enough time to print here 13,56,036 number of records. So unresponsive, the system what you are using is not best in the configuration, so you don't worry about that. But yeah, there is a problem with the SSRS. If the report is pretty complex or huge in functionality, then it will go to unresponsive state. Okay, it is not with bits and it is not with SSMS. Bits is a more complex framework compared to SSMS. Bits framework is, see, when you search for something, or when you're loading, okay, or when you're copying something, what your system will do is it will check everything that is present in your desktop, right? If the desktop is pretty big one, then it will take a lot of time. It will scan the complete desktop items. Okay, in the same way, if you take the bits, it is huge. It has a lot of DLLs. It's a pretty complex framework, and it is meant for so many kinds of problems. But SSMS is a light one, and it all depends on what functionality. Here you cannot write the complex, and you will face SSMS also in real time. Even this one will become unresponsive state. So you have to give enough time. You have to wait. You have to go and grab a coffee. Meanwhile, it will become to normal state. Sometimes you have to kill the process. You have to kill the SSMS or bits. Sometimes, not regularly, but when it becomes to unresponsive state and it is not responding after few minutes also, then you have to kill it and re-execute. So that is there. Okay, and hope that one will not be an interview question for you. So chill. Any other questions, guys? Okay, as you don't have any new questions, let me do one thing. Let me go back to the point where we stopped in the last session. That is, we were discussing about what expressions, right? So let me take the same report, and we were discussing about different categories. Now we are at the last category. What was the category we were discussing about? Anyone? I asked about the category report, not its functions. Common functions. We were discussing about the common functions, and we discussed about daytime, and math functions we have to start. So we discussed about text functions, we discussed about daytime functions, and we have di- math we discussed, right? Math functions also we discussed, and inspection we have to discuss. Okay, so inspection functions, where we will use these inspection functions. So inspection function, the name itself says that if it will check, it will inspect whether the item is so and so or not. If you see, generally in if conditions we will use this. If is nothing of some column, let's say ship date key, then show this has no value, else show this has value. I'm giving sample here. You can write, you can add some other functionality. You know very well what all you can use here in the true part and the false part. In the true part, if you give something like any field, it will show that field. Whenever it is empty, whenever the ship date key is empty, show due date key. Alright? If the functionality is like that, it will be executed. Here I'm giving some dummy text. So my intention here is to explain what that is nothing function is. Is nothing function will check whether the value is null or not. If it is null, then it will check and give you the what I can say, whatever the true part or false part, based on that it will give you the result set. Let me show you. I'm adding a calculated field to the existing data set. Calculated field. I don't know whether I can add it or not. Test. Null will not be accepted, I guess. Best. See, it will be taken as string rather than null. If I give like this, it will be taken as string, I think. Okay, let me check whether the particular field is null or not. I have added two fields, right? If is nothing of what is the field that I have added? Best, right? Best and test. Let me go and use any one. Best. Then show this is nothing, else show this has something. Okay. If it takes a string, then it will show the string. Let me execute this. Oops. If I click somewhere else here, somewhere here now, then it will throw error. It will go to the unresponsive state. Why? Because it is taking a lot of time, right? Okay, this has something. Why? Because the null is taken as string. It is not nothing, right? The nothing will be checked only when it is null value. If you are getting null value from the database, then it will be checked. But here this is not null, and hence it is showing some value. Let me try something for which the chances of having null is high. Extended amount, I think it will have null values. Let me try my luck. So instead of unit price, where I have passed null as string value rather than null, I'm using extended amount. If is nothing of extended amount, then show the text whatever I have given, else show the text again whatever I have given, that is it has some value or it has no value. This has something, this has something, everything it is showing it has something. So that means it is getting some value. There is nothing, there is no blank values. So keep in mind what's the use of nothing. When you're getting any string value or any field value as blank or null value, then you can use this one to check whether it is nothing or not. If it is nothing, then don't calculate. Let's say you have a calculation x divided by y, and you can check if is nothing of y, then don't show it. Don't calculate, simply show null value, right? Else write x divided by y. Let me give you the example here. Let's say you have an x divided by y and the result should be shown. How you will do? If e is nothing of y, if it is really nothing, then show null. Else show x divided by y. You understood what I am writing here? What the calculate? What the expression I have written? If is nothing of y, that means if the y is blank or null, then show null. No need to calculate. It will lead to null. Okay. Else take x by y. So in those kind of condition checks, this one is very useful. This is nothing function. If you see the remaining functions in the same inspection group, it is array, checking whether the result set is an array or not. If the result set is array, then you can use join. See where you will use this is array function. Any examples? Array means it will have more than one value. Where we will have that more than one values? We will have it in multi-valued parameters, right? In multi-valued parameters, not single-valued parameters. I'm repeating. In multi-valued parameters, you will have more than one value, right? If E is array of, let me take a parameter group, comma, good, else, bad. So I'm asking the server if the first parameter group is an array, the value, here you have selected 4 values, right? Europe, NA, North America and Pacific. If these 4 forms an array, that means it's a collection of items, or you can check whether it is a multi-valued item or not, right? Multi-valued parameter or not. If it is an array, then it will show good. Yes, it is an array. It has more than one value selected. That means what it means? If it has more than one value selected, that means it is multi-valued parameter. Now, let me take out this one as multi-valued parameter. Now, how many I can select? I can select only one, right? The first one, or whatever I wish to. Correct? What is the difference between multi-valued and single valued? Single valued means it will be having, you can select only one value, whereas multi-value you can select more than one. When you make it as multi-valued and select more than one value, that means you are having more than one value selected, right? That is an array. That's what I'm checking. If it is an array, that means it is multi-valued. Else it is single valued. Instead of showing good and bad, what I can show here is, to make you understand easily, this is multi-valued parameter. Only single selection is there, right? If I have only one single value selected, that means it will say it will not return an array. That means it is a single value. Only single selection is there. Even though you set it as multi-value, okay, I'm setting it as multi-value, and I'm executing this. Now what it will return? Any guess, guys? It has an array. It is an array. The output of this parameter now is an array, and that is why it will be evaluated to true. The function is array will be evaluated to true and returns this is a multi-valued or something like that, whatever the text that I have given in the true part. Let's wait it still. Let's see, this is a multi-valued parameter. Now what will happen if I select only one? Will it be a single valued parameter or it will be a multi-valued? How it will be written? What will be the output here? Come on guys, you have to guess. This is a multi-value. So this is one best way to identify whether the parameter that you are using is a single valued or multi-valued parameter, right? So is array function, if it is a multi-valued, it will return as an array. If it is a single value, it will return as a string, whatever the value that you are selecting. Let's say Europe, it will be string. But here, in multi-valued, it will be an array. So this is one use in this kind of situations, like whenever you want to check whether it is an array, you will use this is array function. Similarly, is date, if the value that you are getting is a date or not. If it is a date, then it will check and return true, else it will return false. In the same way, is numeric. If you are whatever the value you are passing to the field, let's say if I give is numeric of some column, which is not actually numeric one. Is there any such field here? There is no such field here. Okay, I'll do one thing. Is date. If I give order date key, will it return this is date or this is not date? What it will return if I execute this? What it will return, guys? I have given order date key and you guys are saying this will return this is date. Let's see what it will return and why it is returning that. Let's discuss about that. But it is returning not date. Why? Why? Because if you go to the database SSMS, the order date key is an integer value. This is not a date column. That is why it is checking whether it is a date or not. This is not in date format. This is, we are using a master table for this and using the key column here. What is the master table? Dim time is the master table and we are using time key here in the order date field. So that is why it is written this is not date. And if you observe, these 4 inspection functions is used to check whether it is of particular type or not. Type means whether it is an integer or whether it's a date or whether it's an numeric or whether it's a nothing or having some value or whether it's an array or not. So it's an inspection function. The next one is program flow. This is pretty clear and straightforward one. The program flow, if you see, most of the cases it will be used for getting the date like this. If you see choose path, what it will happen is, let me take the same. So the first parameter is the one which it will be considered. Okay, the index. The index is the one which it will consider, and the choice, the second one is choice. So what this one means is, show me the second among the choices. What is the second among the choices? It is 15. So it will show 15 in this expression. Before going to that, I will filter top 100 records. It is taking a lot of time to generate the report, right? Why I have to show? I'll filter top 100. So I'm asking to show the second choice among the choices available. The second one is 15 and that is why it is showing 15. Now let me change the expression and let me set the choice to 3. What it will return? It is choosing third one among the available choices. It is 21, that is the third one available, hence it is returning 21. What it will happen when you give 4? Will it return error or will it return blank or will it return the 21 again? It will return the fourth choice which is not available, that is blank. So this is how the choose function is used to pick a choice, pick an item from the available choices. This one won't give you a proper meaning, right? If you see, this is not the best one. If you go to the second example here, you can get the week, right? You can get the week from the date. How you can get the week? I have to tell that, right? Week can be retrieved using date path function, which we have discussed under date and time functions. date part of week of today, that means today's week it will take. And if it is 1, then it will show first. If it is 2, it will show second day. If it is 3, it is third day of the week. If it is 4, it is, see, the week starts from Sunday. Sunday will be 1. If it is Sunday, it will return first. If it is Monday, it will return second. If it is Tuesday, it will return third. I think it's Monday in my area, in my time zone. Sorry, Tuesday. So that is why it is returning third. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Alright. So this is how you can use the choose. And the next one in the same group is if you are very much aware of the if conditions, if and nested if and all the functions. Now let's see the third one, that is switch. Switch is used to check different conditions. If switch state is equal to OR, then show this one, or if it is WA, then show this one, or you can give n number of conditions like this. Switch between the values. Let's say the state is OR. This is not available. That is why it is showing an error. Let me give some realistic example. I'm taking sales amount. Where is that sales amount? Can you see that sales amount? Here it is. If the sales amount is greater than 500, then show good. If the same sales amount is equal to 500, I think which will not possible. I mean, it's not available, I think. Let's set it as OK. And if it is less than 500, not OK. Okay. Now it will calculate. The expression will be calculated whether it is greater than 500 or, oops, yeah, sales amount. It is greater than 500 in this case. See, that is why it is showing good. And let's find out some case where it is less than 500. Now in all the cases it is greater than 500. So what I'll do is I'll set greater than 700 so that you will get some response, some outputs, right? In every case it is greater than 500. So I'll set it as greater than 700 is equal to 700. It's less than 700. So the switch is it will switch, it switches between different conditions. So good, not okay because it is less than 700, and again it is good, it is not okay because it is less than 700. So this is how we can use the switch statement. Think yes, to be realistic, I mean to be frank, I've never used this switch condition till now. I think you can go for different also. Let me go for tax amount. Tax amount is equal to 70 or greater than 70. I think it will not work. Why? Because the conflict will be there. Okay, greater than 70 it is checking. First it will check for the first value. This is evaluated to false, and hence this is also false, so it is showing not okay, right? Let me give it as greater than 50. I'm giving tax amount greater than 50. The first one will be evaluated to false. That means good condition will be false for the second row. And let me give 70. See, let me show you an expression. If I have 699 something, this will be false, right? This will not be true. Now the second one will be evaluated. If I give greater than 50, it should show OK, right? See, it is showing OK. Why? Because this is false. The first condition is false. The second condition is true, and hence it is showing OK. So this is how you can use switch conditions. But most of the cases I have seen people using if-else conditions. Why? Because people don't want to write smart code or quality code. People want to write or achieve the output, including me. People means not excluding me. Okay. But you guys try writing using all the functions. The next set of functions is aggregate functions. It is pretty similar to the normal. See, you are using these functions. When these aggregate functions will come into picture? We have already used this. How many of you guys remember where these aggregate functions will come into picture? Generally in SQL Server, all these aggregate functions will come into picture when we talk about group by functions, right? Now, here in this case, if you are going for a matrix rather than a table, this is a tabular report. Instead of that, if you go for a matrix, and if you add something from the main data set, let's say customer key, and here if you add sales amount, immediately it will be sum. Why? Because for all the customers, similar customer, if there is a customer called XYZ who has made thousands of sales in a particular Adventure Works mall or online mall, okay, then it will take the sum. And if you go to this expression, this is nothing but this is using an aggregate function. So this one of the aggregate functions is sum. If you see, here it is. Sum will give sum of the values based on the grouping part. The grouping here is customer key. So based on the customer key, it is giving you the grouping part. Now if you want to have one more child, you can add group child, and let me take customer and ship date. So when the customer bought a product on a particular ship date, then it will sum. It is nothing but group by customer key comma ship date key. How you will get sum of the same query? If you take here, select sum of sales amount from fact internet sales. This is pure sum function, aggregate function. But here what the earlier case was group by currency, right? Sorry, customer key. Group by customer key. If I execute this is how it will be written, group by customer key. And let me show you the same here. Go to the last page. Why the report is not showing? Let me remove this report for some time. Yeah, 1453 something, it will be here. It is ordering based on the customer key here. Let me order in the same way. Order by customer key. Sorry guys, it is currency key, it's not customer key. Currency key, and it will be somewhere here. 14. Oops, I'm getting only top 100 records, right? So that is why it is creating the sum on top 100 records. So see, so many things you have to tell all these things if I forget. So let me remove the top 100 and show you the same report. It should match with the SQL statement whatever I have written here. Let me go to the data set, remove top 100, and let me execute the same. Now it's calculating in all the records that are present in the fact internet sales. This is faster, right? Than the SSRS report. Okay, if you see 10787775.8594. So what I'm doing here is I'm using aggregate function, and the aggregate function is used to calculate the value when it is grouped by some column. Now I'm adding one more. Add group, child group, I'm taking ship date key. So you'll get more combinations. One customer buying a product on a particular month of ship date will be there, right? And the same customer might have ordered in the different ship date, I mean different month. So here ship date key needs to be added, and see this many combinations, 3549 combinations are coming, and the same thing will be coming here. See the currency key when it is 6 and ship date is on 8, you have 6119. It will be somewhere here. Ship date key 61199.82, and the second one is 228.228.06. So this is how the aggregate functions, where we use this aggregate function. The aggregate functions will be used when you are having a group of information, right? Like when you are grouping by. So the group by concept will come into picture when you go for matrix. And if you see, we have different scopes for this. If you go to the aggregate function, if you don't specify anything, that means the scope is whatever the scope you have given. That means the left hand side, whatever the groups you are having, or the column groups, whatever you are having, that is the scope. Now you can give a different scope here for this aggregate functions. Remember, only for aggregate functions we can give the scope. Here you can see group by gender or group by gender comma recursive, all this kind of scoping. Let me go for, here you can see the scope as string, and the third one is scope again, scope as string, and recursive as RDL recursive. I don't know that recursive. Let's talk about scope at least. So what this scope will say is what, based on what scope you want to get this. Now I'm giving main underscore ds as scope. What is the main underscore ds? What is the main underscore ds, guys? It is the data set what we are using to get the complete records, complete data to show in your report, right? So in the main underscore d, I have given the main underscore ds as the scope. I specified it explicitly. So that means don't depend on the groups here. Just get the main data set and scope. That means all the records that are getting in the data set, use that scope. And it is doing the same. It is taking all the records and taking the sum. Right? You understood what's the difference of adding a scope and adding not adding a scope? Now I want to set the scope as currency. I want to set the scope as this row group. I have two row groups. I want to set the scope for only one row group. If I leave it blank, then it will be for two row groups, that is currency key and the ship date key. Now I'm setting only for currency key. Explicitly I'm specifying the scope, and don't calculate for currency as well as the second group, that is based on ship date. Group it only based on, or calculate the sum value only based on currency, right? And if you see for the currency 6, it is not considering the group 1, and it is getting only 1078775 for all the ship date keys until the first currency group ends. Okay, if you go to the next currency, here it's again the same 666. Let me go to the next currency. It will be somewhere here. See 100. For all these 100 currency group, it will be the same. Why? Because it is calculating the value at this level. I have specified explicitly that calculate it at the currency level. It is calculating but showing the same for all the ship date. So I'm explicitly specifying the scope. So the scope will play a fantastic role like this. You can limit, or you can apply this aggregate function as per your wish. Instead of, even though it is showing group by so many different items, you can set the scope like this. So if you see the remaining functions, it's exactly the same. Count, if you remove sum and make it as count, it will give you the count of rows. with this scope, if you remove this, it will give the scope of the row group items and the column group items. Or you can set the data set level scope, that is how many records that are coming to the data set. And count distinct means count distinct number of rows, how many distinct number of rows are coming. And count rows, it is a different function which is used to count how many rows are coming irrespective of any. If your data set is having 100 rows, you can use, if you use count rows, it will give you 100 as output. Okay. And first will give you the first value that is coming for every scope. That is that for this currency, what is the first value that is coming? The first value will be shown, the last value. If you don't specify the scope, remember only difference between specifying and not specifying the scope is if you don't specify this, then if you have any group bys used in your same matrix report like row group and column group, the scope will be based on that groups. Else, if you specify explicitly, then it will take only that scope. Like if I specify main underscore ds, whatever the function, whatever the sum or count or first or last or max or min, whatever you are going to use, it will be using the same. Okay, max, min and standard deviation, it all depends on the scope. If you set it as data set level scope, for the complete records in the data set, the standard deviation will be calculated, else it will not be. It will be calculated only based on the group of items. Now SDDevP means it's a variance, standard deviation with variance, I think. Oh sorry, population standard deviation, and sum we discussed about it, and where means variance and population variance. Running value, what is the running value, and aggregate function. So if you see here, almost all the functions, if you see the same structure, right? And the running value means it will give you the running value when you have a group by statement. Let's say yearly income, it's like rank functions equals what it will do, it will give you the running value, what is the row number and so on. Let me show you an example here. I'm taking this running value function. I'm asking the server to give a running value, comma, main data set. So let's see. Oops. As a scope parameter that is not valid. 1 second. I think I have not given the proper running one. So how many of you guys are aware of the rank functions equals our rank or row number? So those are helpful in providing the ranking of the rows. If you have 100 rows, you can provide ranking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and so on till 100. And in the same way, this is 18th record in this group. The value, based on the value, whatever the currency key we have used. And you don't understand this, man, if I explain it in this way. This is pretty tricky one. How can I explain this? Yeah, these are analytic functions, and I have used it a couple of times. This ranking, I have used it a couple of times, so that's why I'm trying to explain. How can I explain this function? Running value. Let me try giving nothing here. Will it accept? No, have to specify the running value. Count will not work. Okay, let me go for count distinct. This will work. This will give you proper results. I mean expected result or easily understandable result. Let it execute. Now what it will do is for the function count distinct, whatever we have given, it will check the distinct values and then it will give you the running value of this group. So one, all the ones are shown here, and then twos. How can I explain this one? Sum of distinct, no, not like that. See, it will set the distinct value for every row, right? It will count the number of distincts. All the same values will be assigned with the same 1, 2, 3, and so on, and then it will display in the order here. So how can I remove? I mean, let me remove this grouping part, and I have given sales amount. Let's see, whenever the value is getting duplicated, it will be the same problem. Let me remove this group also. Delete columns and associated groups. Now, let this one has some scope. It will take the sales amount. Okay, it will take the sales amount values, and it will order. It will take the distinct counts, and it will assign the running value. So if you have the same sales amount value for 10 records or 100 records, it will set as 1, and then it will go to the next one. It will set as 2, it will set as 3, it will set as 4. So that is how this running value will be set. So it is setting only 42. That means there are only 42 distinct values that are available in the column sales amount. Let's see the same here. Select distinct. I've given distinct count, right? That's fine. Sales amount. You can see there are 42 distinct sales amounts, right? So the same. How many distinct count are there? It will give the running value of the particular value. So I can do one thing. I can set the value here. I can add a column, and I can choose the sales amount here, so that it will give you the sales amount and what is the running value, right? Let's see how it will be shown. So what I'm doing here is I'm asking the server to give the distinct count of the sales amount and what is the running value of the same. So the running value of the first value will be set as 1, and the second value will be set as 2, and so on. Oops, this should be inside the group. One second, guys. Yeah, thanks Swati for giving that. I think it's taking some of that's why it is showing only 1 and giving the distinct 42 values. Which one to take here? All these columns will be integer columns, and whatever you select, even ship date, it will take some of them. So that's the problem. Do one thing, you join this one with the dim product, and select the product as the second column here, and set this group, okay, for of the sales amount, and you can easily understand how it comes. Okay, so the running value, and I'll try to find out the better example, and I'll explain you in the next session. And as I told you, I'm not going to touch these financial functions, okay, this group. And conversion, it is mostly used ones, okay. You will be converting the data from one format to the another format. I told you an example also. When the date is coming from the database, it will come, most of the cases it will come as string rather than date format. So what you have to do? What you have to do is to get any field as string instead of date. The first thing what you have to do is you have to check is date function. Is date of that field is true, then see date. That means convert to date of the same field. Else leave it as is. You understood? Now you understood why we use this isDate function. IsDate function is a inspection function. So you will check whether it is a date or not. If it is not date, you are not supposed to convert it, or it will not be converted. So you can simply set it as you can convert only when the field is date. right? If it is blank, why you want to convert blank into the date? It will throw error, right? So that is why isDate function will be used. Inspection function will be used. So cbool means it will convert to the boolean value, and cbyte means it will convert to byte value, and char means it will convert to character value. Okay. CDate means it will convert to date, convert to double, convert to decimal, convert to integer. Okay, if you can take the examples here, it is pretty clear. So this is decimal value. Okay, and let's see what will be the output. If I execute this guy, C decimal of 573.4573, what will be the output? Delete, let me delete these columns. What is the decimal values here? Guys, don't you know decimal values? It is written the same here. So decimal values means, guys, please answer. 22 divided by 33. What will be the output? The output is a decimal value with some decimals here. Value with decimals. So if instead of C decimal, if you specify C int, it will be trimmed. The decimal value will be trimmed and only integer value will be returned. And decimal values means it's always with these decimal values, 0.6666 something, right? Now I'm using the same 22 divided by 37 but not with C decimal. I'm giving with integer. C int, that means converting to int. What will be the output? Will it be the 0 or 1? Sure. 0 or 1, guys. Most of the guys are saying 0. Let's see. So it is 0.66, which is greater than 0.5, right? 0.5 or above will be taken as 1, the nearest integer, right? So like this, if you see all the functions, it is, yeah, it's rounding. We have so many functions to convert, like cdate, C integer, C long values. Convert to long means it will accept pretty huge value, long decimals. And object means it can be anything like integer, decimal, or string, or date, whatever may be the data type. Object is a universal one. It will accept any kind of data. Even you can give Chinese data, it will take it, right? So C short means it will give you short value. And single, okay, single double, right? Single means short value, limited. I mean, it's like small int and big int. And C string, that means converting to a string value. And integer position of the number. This is what it's saying. Return the integer position of the number. Let's see what it will return. Okay, I've never used this fix function. What it returns, let's see. Minus 9.25, it's saying it returns the integer position. What is integer position minus 9.25? 1, 2, 3, 4. No, position, it's not the value here, it is position. It is saying it returns the position of the integer. The position of integer, I think it is from the right hand most side. 9.75 means 1, 2, 3, 4, it should be. Oops, minus 9. It is giving only the integer value, right? So there is very close close relation between C int and fix. C int will give you the nearest rounding value, but fix will give you the fixed integer value. Whatever the integer value you have, it will give you that. Okay. And in the same way, you have so many other one also, right? Returns an integer position here, the same. But fix means there will be a little difference between these two. I don't know what Shall we try with this one, integer? I think it will round and give you the integer value, whereas fix means it will give you the fixed one. Whatever the integer value is there, it will just remove the dot and take out the right hand side one and returns the integer value. But here it should be some rounding part, I guess. So if you see the installed version of that you have installed in your computer, you'll find different set of functions. See, it is giving rounding number -10. So there's a difference between fix and int. Now let's go to the next one, conversion. This is for hexadecimal, and this is for octagonal or something, is right? Octal. And this is for string. Returns a string representing of a number. This number will be represented in the string and returns. And value returns a number contained in a string as a numeric. Okay, let's see, this is an interesting function. Numeric of appropriate type. Let's see, this is the one 6706 and it is saying it will return a numbers. What number we have, and let's see whether it returns the value 6706 or something like that. So from the string it is, and the function it is saying that it will return the number from the string. Let's see the same. See, 6706 is the number that is present in the string and it is returning the number that is present in the string. This is super good function, man. I have never used it. Let's see what will happen if it is Dr. 1 is there at the end or 100 is there at the end. How it will return? It will return as 6706 and 100 or only 6706. Let's see. It is returning the first integer, only the first encounter, right? So let me remove this data set. I don't need this data set. It is taking a lot of time. If I execute now, it should not take much time. Oops. Control C. Let me insert a text box and let me paste it here. Let me remove this and let me remove this. Now it should not take much time. Yeah, fine. Now, so this is how you can use conversion functions, right? You can convert from one format to the another format. And if you see miscellaneous, you will find different set. I have only 4. You will have 8 or 10, and it depends on the version, right? In scope, returns true if the current instance is within the scope. Okay. And level, let me explain it. Level, see, this level is used whenever you are going for parent-child hierarchy in SSRS. Okay, recursive hierarchy or parent-child hierarchy. That means manager and the employee, if you see, it is recursive. It is parent-child hierarchy. You are not aware of this parent-child hierarchy, and this function is mainly used when you are showing parent-child hierarchy data. And we will discuss about anyone make a note of it. When we discuss about SSAS, then only you will understand what is this parent-child hierarchy, and using that only we can show or we can explain this level option. Okay, and previous, it will give you the previous value, previous row data. Like if you have 100 rows, the first row will be this previous of the next. See, I will show you this. Let me take a table and I'm having country DS sales territory group. Okay, I'm taking sales territory group. In the second one, I'm taking the same sales territory group, but instead of setting just sales territory group, I'm using previous also. That means always it will give you the previous value. So if the first one, once I execute this, you can easily see. Here, for this is Europe, and there is no previous value for this. And here North America, but the previous value of this North America is Europe. And here, sorry, NA. Here it is North America, and previous value of North America is NA. And here it is Pacific, and the previous value is North America. So the previous value will give you the previous value. So you can use this to check whether the previous value is the same or not. Some kind of checks if you want to make, you can make use of the previous value function. And if you see the last function that is available in this common function miscellaneous group, it is row number. So row number, you can give nothing as scope, or you can give any scope. Scope is, you know what is scope, right? So if you give nothing, it will give you 1, 2, 3, 4. What is the row number? What is the particular row number? It will give you that. Okay. So this row number is used most frequently to provide the coloring alternate, right? So for example, the first, I have given you an assignment, right, before going on vacation. I want to show the alternate rows in same color. So you should have achieved that using this row number. Okay. I don't know how many of you guys tried it, and how many of you guys finished it. Do one thing, take a data set, create a table, and use row number and try to show alternate rows with the same color, and send that RDL file to me. I'll check it. It's an assignment kind of. Okay. That's true, Shiva, but I thought everyone will try it. So what you have to do is the first row should be in blue color, second row should be in red color, third row should be again in blue, fourth row should be in red, fifth row, if it is present, it should be blue, red, blue, red, blue, red, blue, red, blue, red, blue, red. It should be like that. Okay. So try that and send that RDL file to me. And 1 second, she's asking something. Some question. Show alternate rows in same color in SSRS report. Okay. So try that and send that assignment to me before the next session, and tomorrow we'll catch with the groups. See, we were discussing about different functions, right? Different functions in the expressions page. And to be frank, not all the functions are used regularly. Very few functions, routine functions will be used, and not everyone is aware of all the functions also. So in next sessions we'll be discussing about two things. One is the properties here, tablix properties, the column properties, the row properties, the row group properties, and the row properties, and this data group, row group properties and column group properties. So we'll be discussing about all the properties. And here you have, this is very important in SSRS, just like expressions. Okay, you need to know where you will find each property, and once it is done, then we will start discussing about the remaining chart types or toolbox item types, like rectangle, list, image, subreport, chart, and gadgets. Okay, and those things will go smooth. And main thing we are going to discuss, the first thing we discussed, important thing we covered is parameters, expressions, and in next session we're going to discuss about the properties of the tablets and groups, and then we can continue with the remaining charts. That's it for today's session, and I'll catch you in tomorrow's session same time. Okay, thank you guys, have a good day.